Welcome back. So that was either a good idea or a really bad one. People, the Boney M Christmas tune. I think last week I picked Wham, and we did our regular 60-second countdown, and we thought that
wasn't long enough.
It wasn't long enough, so we said, right, play the hits. It's Christmas time. It's 10th of December. We've only got one left pre-podcast before we go and touch grass and spend time with our families and less time on crypto Twitter. So
I'm not going online for the full time.
No, it's a time to reflect on the year that's been, pour Baileys on your cornflakes, and enjoy.
That chocolate orange Baileys looks,
yeah,
looks the business, that stuff.
It does. So first of all, I want to say thanks to Yeet for sponsoring, as well as all the other lovely names across your board there. I need to let you guys know that the Yeet leaderboard is back live again, and we will be putting the link in the description below on YouTube. They're literally giving out $3,000 a month just for playing games over on there. So we know that there were a few angry folks in our Discord down to our lack of communications there, but it is live again, and you can go and win yourself a little Christmas Brucey bonus. So go and do it. I drop so many like UK related quips.
I was going to say, do you think like 99% of we know what our demographics are? They're extremely like US oriented, and still we just drop like UK pop references that even certain parts of the UK are completely unaware of.
Who's Bruce Forsyth? So what have we got today? Last week we had a proper big old grumpy moan, and a lot of people really, really liked it. But I think that it's not all that bad. It's not all doom and gloom. But the timeline will tell you that it is, I should say. So just to give you a rough overview of what we think we're going to try and get through within the space of 45 minutes to an hour, depending on how long we want to do this for, is some funny tweets we've seen. There's been a piece that went out from a fella that caught my eye over the weekend that he wrote a thing that he'd wasted 8 years of his life on crypto. And we're going to give you our hot takes on that. Do we agree? Do you care if we agree? Jeff has been going at it today. That is Hyperliquid's Jeff, on the back of some misunderstanding around auto deleveraging. I want to talk about crypto Twitter in general, and is it really just an absolute toilet these days, or is there still hope left in the old dog? And I want to just generally talk about where we're at. So why don't we start there? Because as we did this last week, we're at 91,977, according to CoinGecko. What do you think? I looked last night. We'd bounced a little bit of hope. Came back down hardcore.
Yeah.
Not hardcore. But what do you think?
I've given up trying to guess where we're going and what we're at. And any hope or excitement is immediately met with fear and dismay. It's like, yeah, it's not great, but at the same time, you can't just have like continually up only like markets that are extremely easy to play. But then you look at what's happening in TardFi land and even in commodities, and then it's just like rubbing our nose in it a little bit. So yeah, it's I don't know. I just expect any positive move to be met with, a rejection at this point until I'm proved otherwise.
In the short term, though,
forever.
Sorry, guys, you jumped on the wrong stream.
No, it's yeah. I don't know. Like it's obviously not going to be forever, is it? Like there's some relief in the markets. You can see like the spats being certain assets that have like absolutely ripped, like that humidify, human DeFi, whatever the fuck it's called. Like the ticker wet is absolutely ripped out the gates, like a strong launch, which is good. There's just a few things that are looking quite positive, like on the micro side, and then if you do get some continuation, or even just some relief, to be honest, I think there's enough appetite and there's enough people still sticking around where there could be continued upside in certain assets.
Yeah, I hope you're right. I think you are. I think we will maybe have a bit of a sideways grind before going where we'll eventually go.
Santa rally coming.
Yeah, but at this Santa rally, but at this point, I do think we are just, playing horoscopes and
horoscopes for incels.
Yeah,
that's basically what this industry is turned into.
Place your chips accordingly. So I'm going to start this with what has been top of my mind today, which is this Hyperliquid thing. So just to give you a kind of a TLDR, Tarun from Gauntlet put out a piece. When did he do this piece? We are live sourcing here. It's a long one. Ain't nobody reading all of that. But many people apparently have. It's currently sitting at 152k views, if you believe that that's how many views it's sitting on, allegedly. But the crux of it is that auto-deleveraging on Hyperliquid, the title is 653 million lost to a greedy heuristic. Now, Jeff has bitten back, and he has put, those who can do, those who can't FUD. Before writing a paper, maybe learn the definition of what you are studying. ADL does not transfer PNL to HLP. It treats HLP entirely symmetrically with users. ADL has nothing to do with HLP or backstop liquidations. ADL did not destroy 653 million of PNL either. If you don't understand what you're talking about, you're not qualified to spread lies masked by fancy ML terms to sound smart. It's a shame that these are academics that the industry looks up to. So at the risk of being a Jeff Hyperliquid stan, which, I shouldn't use that word. I'm too old to say stan. I'm sorry. Really hope none of my crypto mates are listening to this, or I'll never live that one down.
Unk.
Yeah, and I'm an unk. What do you think of this? Carry on. And before we get into it, can you just shed a little bit of insight for the viewers and listeners as to the whole auto-deleveraging, the technicalities of that, and why we've maybe fallen into this friction?
Yeah, I mean, like, so high level, it's different on every platform, right? So, and I think some of the issues are like, if we speak about it from, like, let's take a step back, right? There's a really good thread from Doug Coolkit, who is basically building out Fogo. If anyone knows how to quite eloquently put how these systems work into everyday man language, Doug is like the right guy to actually do it, because his thread's actually really, really good.
I should have probably brought that to hand, actually, because it was fantastic when Doug, and that was when obviously everything happened in October, wasn't it? He was kind of explaining to people how those mass liquidations happen. You carry on your train of thought, because I just totally derailed that there.
Yeah. So effectively, like, there's the HLP backstop, which will take on like the amount of liquidations that it physically can, and then as a kind of like last resort, when there's liquidations that need to actually happen that HLP can't additionally take on, then auto deleveraging happens. So I think where there's a bit of back and forth in between, like, who's right, who's wrong, is the prioritization of how the auto deleveraging works. So like, and like high level, in a nutshell, if you come into it, it's like certain positions will be closed that are out open, which is like put a few people's nose out of joint. So the pushback is, well, if you were short on 1010, like in an ideal world, you should be able to just like ride that whole position out and you guess directionally correct. Yes, that is true, but to a point, because there's only a certain amount of like liquidity in the system to allow those shorts to actually win. Like Doug's point, which he quite again eloquently puts, is perps are just like a pool of money. There is no assets really. It's just like ins, outs, longs, long, shorts. So to kind of like fabricate that there could be short positions that could completely clean up during like such a mass like liquidation event, like what happened on 10/10. Auto deleveraging kicked in, and then a few people's positions were actually closed that were in profit. So that's like the pushback on auto deleveraging. So like even traders that were on the right side of 10/10 had some of the positions closed, and like the black box technically is like, well, who gets prioritization on who get like how does the system work on prioritization of who actually gets closed, right? Tarun is like written or used the LLM to create this article that I think Jeff's taking a lot of like holding on to one of the paragraphs where it's basically saying that auto deleveraging and the profits from that get passed over to HLP, which then effectively acts as something that is deriving net profit from other people's positions being closed out, which is categorically just not correct, right? So I think the problem here is that there are certain aspects of all systems that are totally different. Like if it happens on Binance, it's a complete black box. If it happens on Hyperliquid, yes, all positions are completely transparent on like an open ledger. I think it's a prioritization aspect of the ADL. It's like who is actually getting closed, why they're getting closed. Is it the people who are most netting profit? Like I think that's a little bit of a black box. I think it's very, very confusing for the vast majority of people. Like there's certain aspects of it I don't truly fully understand as well. But I think Tarun's chimed in. He's also mentioned that he's I think it was quite telling that at the very, very top of his article, he said, I'm a liquid token investor in Hype, but also venture investment, also have a venture investment in it through the VC firm that he works for or owns or whatever the fuck in Lighter. So I don't know. And he obviously operates Gauntlet as well, which is more of like a risk management firm. I don't really know how to describe it correctly, but who have, in theory, crafted a few research papers that show a new form of how ADL could work. So there's like some talking of the book from the paper side for Gauntlet. There's some talking in the book from maybe the lighter side. Maybe there's a better way to actually go and do it. But I think all in all, it's just like, it is what it is. But it does take a lot for, I suppose, Jeff to come onto the timeline and then start fighting back, which is not really what I expected to see first thing when I came and logged on this morning.
Have you developed a cold, by the way, since we were on 10 minutes before starting?
Yeah, I think I might have some allergies, to be honest. It doesn't really help that I've got like 5 dogs.
Yeah, fair enough. I think without this turning into a complete gossip column, because I think it's just one that we had to really address, Gwart put it very eloquently. He said, I don't know if Jeff is right or if Tarun is right, so we should make them both do one very hard math problem to decide a winner.
I agree.
Yeah, I agree.
Did sometimes you see Gwart's tweet about Prisoner's Dilemma the other day?
No.
That was one of those ones where you know when you see a tweet and you're like, that is fucking hilarious. Then you come back on like a few hours later and it's like several million views.
Yeah. Which one was it?
To be fair, it's weirdly adjacent to what we're actually speaking about here, because Doug uses his the analogy of like getting kicked off of a plane in his ATL conversation. But I'll leave it for people to go and find it, because it'll just completely derail the conversation.
Fair enough. I have no idea why Henry's share screen keeps popping up. I'm not trying to share my screen. I think what you're referring to is this Gwart tweet. Flight attendant comes over the intercom. Your flight is oversold. I need 2 volunteers to take this flight this afternoon for a $300 voucher. I spring into action. I was born for these moments. This is why I studied game theory. Literal tingles. I pull out my megaphone and address our boarding gate. Guys, they absolutely must offboard at least 2 passengers or this bird isn't taking off. Every 3 minutes, they will increase their bid by $200. If we all hold out for 45 more minutes, 2 of us can make nearly $5,000 each. Textbook Prisoner's Dilemma. This is 3-3 in its most visceral representation. I'm not even going to give up my ticket, but I know value when I see value. Let's make Nash proud, ladies and gentlemen. Do not acquiesce. Do not defect. Anyhow, 2 people immediately accepted $500, and I called them retards. on my megaphone and was placed in a detention room by airport police. This is why we study game theory. Yeah, I'm proud of the internet for that one exploding, to be honest, because I like the fact that people have understood nuance and irreverence enough for that to go 3.7 million views.
Yeah, we were saying it's incredible, like the just endless bottomless pit of fucking how many funny people are on the internet. Maybe it's actually just 10 people and like they've all got like multiple accounts, but like there's some beauty tweets that we've got here that like the comments are just absolute comedy gold.
So this is what we're going to do next. So we basically sat last week and moaned all about VCs and token allocations and why just nothing is worth buying. Subjectively, many things are probably still worth buying. Many tokens are available out there. Make your own decisions. But
yeah, all my MetaDAO tokens are fucking down as well, by the way. So that's fucking bullshit.
It's not like you spent an hour last week basically soft chilling and then hard chilling MetaDAO and everything associated with it. So good job people don't take us as financial advice. But I am going to show you quickly what was almost, it ended up, was probably basically the mood of crypto Twitter last week, which led to us having the discussion that we had.
Yeah.
This came after that. So this was published over the weekend, I believe. And the title is, it's clickbait, of course. It is, I wasted 8 years of my life in crypto. But nonetheless, it is a relatively bearish piece on the industry in general. And the crux of this is essentially saying that there's only a casino left and that we aren't building any sort of financial future infrastructure thing. It's just gambling and
we aren't building a
words.
Financial thing.
It's the end. It's the end of the year. My how articulate I am drops significantly at the end of November. But that's basically what this is. And again, I do feel like every so often when we get to a certain point in the cycle or even a point of exhaustion, you start to see this. You start to see more and more things appear on the timeline of people doom posting this industry in general, what we're doing here, why anyone gets out of bed at any point of any day. Some of the replies are extremely funny. So this guy also was working for, can you remember the name of the project? Evo. And this tweet made me laugh. Where on the chart did you come to this realization? I'm just wondering. Now, I'm not saying that this guy has decided to, rope his crypto career because
that other comment's funnier though.
I can't play that one though.
No. Gets sent to prison.
But yeah, what do you think of reading this? Because I'm torn. There are parts of it that I agree with. Look, again, we sat here last week and just moaned and groaned and were pretty bearish overall, I would say, for many different reasons. And I know Andy from Hyperfive said there, Alex, every founder should have to answer those questions, which is right. We agree with that, Andy. But is this just, is it over the top? Do you think it's valid? Is it crybaby bullshit?
Probably all of the above, but at the same time, it's one account that feels like the industry personified. I think that's why it did so, like it went so, like, I suppose, quote unquote viral. That article summed up what I think a lot of people are thinking, a lot of people are crashing out with. There is definitely some truth in it, although, like, it's really strange because, like, if you look at any industry, it's like just inherently driven by speculation, right? If you have a look at what the fuck's happening in the AI industry now, which I think would probably be the first port of call for anyone who is building in the industry, if they were to like completely just sail off into the sunset, you'd probably see them pop up in the AI sector. There was like a team last week, and I was covering this on Round Trippers through the week, that they tried to build an application within 12 days. It was a bit of a gimmick, and they recorded it. And yes, the guy who was doing it had previously like founded 2 projects, but he then sells to like flies to San Francisco, finds a co-founder. Like it was all like this big gimmick. And then at the end of the week, they've raised 4 million out of 40 million valuation because they had like 40k in net sales. And then they're using like MRR and ARR like so flippantly, and there's like zero recurring revenue around it. You've been around for fucking 12 days for fuck's sake, but you're still raising 4 million out of $40 million valuation, right? So it doesn't matter what industry it's in. That only is allowed to happen because of inherent speculation. Just because it's in the private markets, and crypto is so inherently in the public markets for the most part. Speculation fuels all innovation, and if the speculative aspect of it wasn't there, then you wouldn't get the innovative side to be able to actually go and do it, right? So I think it's a bit naive. I feel like it's a bit kind of, oh boohoo, my idea didn't work. You know what you're doing. Like the whole product's built around volume, and like particularly from like an options platform. Yeah, I don't know. I just didn't like. It's fine to crash out as well, by the way. Like, but so the response should just be, "I'll see you tomorrow."
Yeah, true. Yeah, it's fine. It's fine to crash out. I think that's a really good point you've made there, though, that it was that I think the tweet did become so viral because it stoked conversation, and knowing how some people are, many won't have even read it. I've obviously read it all. It's not even that long, but many will have just seen the title and gone, I'll take a bit of that action. And I think
like let's use like the big round number in that, like 8 years. So like what the fuck was going on in the industry 8 years ago? What's the date? Like 2020, nearly 2026, right? So you take that back 2018. It maybe like give them some leeway. It might have been 2017. Like the industry's had the biggest fucking glow up known to man during that time. Like we were literally, we're on the second cycle of running ICO scams at this point. Like that was like peak ICO. Fucking Neo raised 4 billion, not like raised that amount of money, not like at the valuation of that, like cold hard cash. So to say you've wasted the time like when you've got fucking nation states and you've got Bitcoin spot ETFs and you've got spot ETFs for fucking ETH and Sol staking, and you've got whatever the fuck Tempo's about to be doing coming online, and you've got Tether being one of the single largest gold holders in the universe, and the same for fucking US Treasury bills. Like Tether are potentially a systematic risk to US Treasuries. They are that large. Like so if you haven't done anything in the meantime, I kind of think it's a little bit on you. We've been from like fucking absolute criminal city to wherever we're at in the industry now. And yes, there have been some like parts of it that have been a little bit of shit. Lived through fucking USDC depeg, FTX blown up, Luna fucking crashed, 40 billion wiped out in the market over a couple of days. But Jesus Christ, if you can't like take a step back and look at where the industry's been from 8 years ago and think, yeah, it's definitely moving in the right direction, then I think that's more of a skill issue, to be honest.
So is that a symptom of expectations not meeting reality? Because what I mean by that is, if we think about this thing that is crypto on a more philosophical level, this born out of counterculture movement towards a new financial global ecosystem with, non-custodial, permissionless assets, and everything that we're saying and what I'm going to get onto next backs up what you're saying, right? But you're going to add to that the underperformance of alts over the past 18 months. So there's another stick pulled out of Kaplonk for people not making money. And is this just this entire clusterfuck of people being generally frustrated? That is it a case of a nascent industry still finding its feet in terms of product market fit across the board, mixed with people pissed off that they're not making any coin, as that tweet is obviously pointing out? He's saying to the geezer, at which point in the chart did you decide to crash out? Do you think that's the influence here, and it's masquerading as like holier than thou, get out while you still can?
Have you seen that meme on Instagram where it's like, if I'm not involved, corruption is is bad. If I'm involved, corruption is good. It's like this fucking nut, like this like African warlord or something, like stating it, and everyone's like, yeah, so this is great. If the industry allows you to raise an ungodly amount of money at extremely awfully inflated valuations, and not to say that the product that they were working on wasn't great, because I think it was in certain parts, and I think they were probably the leaders in pre-launch perps, and they probably got stuck a little bit in the mud with that being their product market fit as opposed to what they were previously doing with options and then the perps product and stuff. But not to focus on that for too much, but I think we're just going through like this realization and like drastically reverting to the mean and coming back down to reality in the full industry. And I know this is, I'm laughing about like my meta DAO bags being down over the past week, but again, I feel like with the legitimacy that comes with moving into where the industry is at currently, that also then has to be somewhat drawn back down to reality with how the real world works. So you can't just like, you can't have these hyperinflated valuations for products that, like, in theory, there's not that many people actually using them. And if they didn't have like some form of token associated to them, like they just drastically wouldn't have the valuation that they've got. So you can't have it both ways. Like you can't have like a lack of product market fit with this like overly inflated valuation, and then throw your toys out of the pram when everything comes crashing back down to reality in line with what the rest of the world has to do from a business like standpoint. Like go and speak to any fucking, I don't know, car rental shop or like a roofing company, or like even if you go towards like more of like a tech sector like product, you have to have real users, you have to have fucking revenue, and you have to actually show that you've got meaningful traction to be able to like raise or actually get to the valuations that some of the crypto companies that are in existence now are just basically being handed to them. I know we covered a lot of them last week and shit like that, but I feel like there's a harsh reality coming to the industry. Anyone who's over bloated, doesn't have a legitimate business model, is probably going to start to feel like they've wasted the past 8 years in crypto as well. But I also think that allows like a really positive breeding ground for people who want to do it the right way and have like a bottoms up approach, and it probably weeds a lot of the leftover shit out from years gone by as well. So maybe we're just seeing like the start of that, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, it's undeniably a painful process to go through, isn't it?
Yeah.
How can it not
be? It's like being like a trust fund kid all your life, and then you get shut off.
Yeah, that's quite a good way of putting it. Yeah, and I know I don't want to like go over all ground and everything we talked about on last week, but that's right. And so
if we can't call the shit out, Alex, then like nobody else is going to do it. Like
no, I know. I did come off when we stopped recording last week and thought, ooh. And then, as I say, I've had quite a lot of people go, hey, really enjoyed that. I do actually need to make the point that in the little URL from our like Web2 dial-up internet theme we've got going on, it says blocmatespodcast.com. That actually doesn't exist. There's no such domain. It was just Henry being quite creative. That's going to go. So don't go and Google stuff. Like, just go to Blockmate.
We should buy the domain and put like an Easter egg on it.
Don't. Someone will buy it before we even get off this stream. I know what people are like. But we are actually building a new blockmates.com, actually, which I'm quite excited about in the new year. But on the back of everything we've been talking about, and I think it's quite stark, really. There's a clip that's been doing the rounds like 4 days ago, just before the weekend, or maybe it was over the weekend, and it's Paul Atkins, and the crux of what he says.
See the creator of the Atkins diet.
Yeah, true. Yeah. There you go. Look, there's a comment immediately. Too late, already been drained. Sorry. Honestly, you idiots leaving comments while we're live on stream. You derail me every time. The people listening on Spotify, I need to make sure I'm reading out your comments because they make me laugh, and then people who aren't actually watching have no idea what we're talking about. But quite predictably, Paul Atkins, crypto bull, we knew this was coming, didn't we, when he was announced as the new SEC chair. In light of everything we're talking about, if you zoom out a little bit, right, he's gone on record and said this week that everything will be on chain, all US markets. I don't know where the exact quote is, and I can't exactly bring Hickson, pump it for my familiar. Yep. So right on cue there as well when we start talking about the SEC. I subscribe to the newsletter, by the way. But essentially Paul Atkins has said that the shift towards like bookkeeping and everything coming on the coming to blockchain, that all record keeping will move to blockchains. So it's bad for those of you out there who aren't doing your tax returns. So please, you know, if we give you lots of bad advice, they'll give you some good advice as well. Do your taxes, because you know, Wendy will come for you at some point. But in his words, it would bring huge benefits and predictability and transparency. And Atkins said, right now, there's a bit of opacity as to who owns what, and the company usually doesn't even know who its shareholders are. He also affirmed that the usual T+1 delay between order placement and clearance will be eliminated. That way, all executions will occur instantly. And we're already obviously hurtling towards that conclusion, because some of the things we've seen already throughout this year, Robinhood bought over 1,000 stocks in Arbitrum. X stocks has over $180 million in tokenized equity. JP Morgan is super bullish on tokenization. And then I think Lavina has dropped me a note here, which I might be able to just pull up on screen. Might be a bit too long. Tokenization today is roughly where the internet was in 1996, says BlackRock. So if that doesn't get you tingling down in your plums, then I'm not sure what will, to be honest.
I love how he's like, how he like completely psyops everyone into like manifesting this industry, and now you've got Larry Fink saying that fucking everything's going to be tokenized, and Bitcoin ETFs like one of the most profitable products that they have. It's absolutely insane.
Yeah, but how incredible is it that we've gone from, I say we're Brits. I don't give a shit who is. I actually do give a shit. My wife's American, but a government where we all know what we were going through with Gary Gensler, and I'm not saying whether this one's better or worse or who the fuck knows what it is, because there's definitely arguments to be made for both sides. But you've gone from an SEC chair actively pursuing the obliteration of any crypto-related activity, like a total seek and destroy operation.
I wonder what he's up to now.
This.
What do you think he's doing?
I don't want to get sued for defamation on stream.
I reckon he's fucking launching shitters on PubFundMe. Like he's just.
Andy's just commented from Hyperfire there. When you said tingling in your plums, I immediately gave you a 5-star rating on Spotify. I'm assuming that means Andy gets the reference there, which there's one for our US audience. Maybe you do. And yeah, as Prostagama28 said, there is no tax. I love you. So, right, what are we thinking with this here? Because let me actually show you this tweet, because as you all know, who listen to this regularly, we hardly plan this out thoroughly. But this Gensler full potted lighter Jeff coded. This is the tweet in question here. Where is it? I've got too many of these open, these tabs. So obviously with the Larry Fink quote, what does this actually mean? Say, for example, blockchain and tokenization really is where the internet was in 96. In 96, the internet infrastructure worked. It was reliable. Websites loaded, emails delivered, but adoption was tiny. Amazon had sold 16 million worth of books total. Google didn't exist, neither did Facebook or Netflix. The skeptics weren't wrong about the problems. They were wrong about the trajectory. Tokenization in 2025 looks similar. The infrastructure works. Ethereum has processed trillions in value with 100% uptime across 17 network upgrades, but adoption is still early. 30 billion in real-world assets on chain. BlackRock's tokenized treasury funds 2.3 billion stablecoins and processes 5 trillion annually. Real usage, small relative to what's coming. Is this delusional, Grant? Are we delusional? Because how long have we been saying that we're early?
I don't think so, but at that time, if they're trying to like push ETH in that with that context, when you've got tempo breathing down your neck, when they're saying like Google didn't exist, like first mover advantage wasn't the thing on the early internet. You like allow everything to play out, and then like the big boys come in and fucking Netscape everyone, which is about like it's basically what's about to happen. So, I think we're at that inflection point. I don't think you can discredit how much a regulatory and like a clear regulatory environment and framework allows innovation to thrive, which whatever the fuck we've been doing for the past 4 or 5 years, even longer than that now, where there's just been no clear guidance and then some like just quite aggressive after the fact, oh, we're coming for you based on whatever you can make up. Show me the man, I'll show you the crime type like enforcement. I think it's probably the most exciting time the industry's ever been in. But again, the dislocation is between what everyone's invested in from a alt's perspective and what the backdrop of the industry is doing. That's why the disconnect's so big, because there's so much like conflicting. That's really good over there, but this is really shit over here. It's like the two people on the bus meme.
Yeah, that's really, really good over there, but I'm not making any money.
Yeah, so it's shit.
So it's shit. yeah. So it must be shit. It must be shit because number don't go up.
Yeah. Your coin bad, my coin good.
Reverted to just total Neanderthal here.
Yeah. We went through the opposite end of the spectrum. We've reached the pinnacle of finance and reverted back to fucking.
I feel delirious. So I do want to give you a quick nod about QFX as well, because we do get told off if we don't talk about sponsors. So talk about the sponsor grant.
Want to see a masterclass in unscripted ad reads here?
Time to be sold to, people.
So, as you all know, you're not making any money. So, with a lack of opportunity becomes a new breeding ground for great products where you can buy and sell equities and commodities on chain with the little USDC that you've got left in your lonely wallet. But QFEX, great team coming out of the UK, ex-Tower trading guys, if I'm not mistaken there. Equity Perps is the name, and that should be rolling out, I believe, in the early new year. So just in time for everyone to pivot and start being like a equities or stock guy on Twitter, and then just trying to become an expert in that field. That's going to be like a huge venue of choice, which we'll be using. We'll try and get some
access
invite codes for people as well. We'll probably just drop them in newsletter or Discord. But if anyone's looking for a place to be able to actually trade stuff that goes up, that's going to be the place.
Yeah, I like the way these boys are moving as well. Like, even if you look at the account, not botted, doing everything right. They're on all the right shows. Gwart, all the people I respect. My circle of respect is closing in so rapidly now. Someone from another team asked me the other day, "Who else do you think we should be?" And I was like, I don't.
There's probably like 3 people, isn't there?
Yeah, but anyway. On that note, that's the end of the sponsored segment, as Grant so expertly showed you how well rehearsed
You're not
we
making any money because nothing's going up.
No.
Equities and commodities are going up. Yep. So QFEX is the place.
And as I said last week, if you'd like to sponsor the Blockmates podcast, it's $65,000 to have your name along the ticker. It's not. I do wonder how many people probably thought we were serious about that. Anyway, sorry. Moving on. Polymarket. Something else that made me laugh. This tweet here that Jez put out, and we like Jez, don't we?
He's great.
A much larger issue here is that both Kalshi and Polymarket report volume on notional, not actual dollars traded. If you buy a 1% chance for 1 cent, it shows up as $1 volume. Prediction markets are potentially misreporting volumes by 100x, not 2x. So this was in relation to a tweet that has now since been deleted. And then we got a very, very good tweet from 50 pence who said, "Wow, you glue-eating retard. That means someone else bet 99 cents against you." Can you...
This is what we were saying, like, off air. Like,
yeah.
Even if you're factually incorrect in your retweet, if you say it and it's funny enough, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah. Explain to the people what this is, because
I mean,
my energy is waning.
Yeah, there's just a lot of kind of so like little history lesson of what's actually gone on this past week, like short history lesson, I suppose, is Kalshi, they've obviously had a latest round of investment, which Paradigm are on the cap table of, and then strategically Paradigm, like one of the guys from there, has came out and said there's a lot of these June boards and like third party analytics boards that are double counting a lot of poly market volume. And weirdly enough, there's like everyone on Paradigm but seemingly got behind this tweet for, well, you can kind of read between the reasons of why that would actually be beneficial to their book. And then there's just been a load of people coming out, effectively trying to say how the volume should be counted for the tokens that are actually traded on poly market. So you've got your yes and your no tokens, and you can buy or sell both of them. So all that came out because it was about third-party dashboards that people were reporting on. It wasn't like the volumes that Polymarket were directly reporting on. So I think there's like a very, very clear distinction that needs to be like kind of set up front. So it's not as if like Polymarket have been like self-reporting like 100x larger volumes than they're actually getting. It's like anyone can spin up a June board, anyone can pull like data from wherever they need to fucking pull it from, and fetch whatever APIs they actually need to get. Some of the boards have been misrepresented and make the volumes look a lot larger than they actually do. But that's not fucking Polymarket's job to go around and like keep like checking all June boards and say, hey, random fucking SQL novice, make sure those June boards are like up to date, or we're gonna come and get you. I'll take you a little affiliate badge off you. So yeah, and like again with the ADL thing, it's just like shown that there's a drastic misunderstanding of how like all these systems actually work. But you've got so many people actually spouting a load of shit on the timeline because it makes sense from an engagement perspective. So more Kalshi shenanigans, in my opinion, that has been drastically overblown.
I'm going to wait until we both go on screen. Mark my words. Something will go down at some point with Kalshi. And we'll all... I realise I'm so on the record here. I couldn't be more on the record if I tried. I feel like it's you and me talking in a room. Something will happen with Kalshi, and then we'll all step back and go, how obvious was that the entire time?
Yeah. That's a funny market, that Prostogamma is saying.
Yeah. How long have we got? 46 minutes. One thing I wanted to talk about was crypto Twitter. So Cobie did a few tweets the other day, did a bit of tweeting. And the crux of it is he essentially said that he doesn't have CT on his phone anymore or his desktop, only his tablet. Big granddad vibes, like sitting in bed with reading glasses on, flicking through Twitter.
Or 2-year-old in Pizza Hut while they're like you, basically the virtual nanny for 2-year-olds.
Yeah. So this is again, it's going to sort of sound a bit rhetorical. This, but crypto Twitter over the past year in particular it's a tough grind some days now, isn't it? It's and the reason I know that, and I say this even further, is I spent probably the longest time I've spent off it in a long time post Argentina. I kind of went totally cold turkey for about like 4 or 5 days, and I have another alt account that I use for football Twitter, where I just want to read about football. And I don't want anything about this kind of thing. And it was weird to go over to that side of the app. And
it's good to have that release, though. It's good to have like an corrupted timeline.
Yeah, and what I will say is the shit posting in crypto is unrivaled. There's nowhere better. There's nowhere funnier. It's Reddit on steroids, as we all know. But what I did realise is that it's nowhere near as much of an issue. The bot relentless shit. I mean, we get it, don't we? Even me at a meager 1,700 followers, the replies that I get from bots and people engagement farming is absolutely twisted. And Cobie was essentially saying that all his alpha and everything these days comes from Telegram. Now, that's obviously from a position of longevity and privilege, may I add. But what did you think of that? And you know, as someone and two guys that love Twitter and what this app has been over the past 10 years or so, what do you think of that take that it's almost redundant now? I don't think it is, obviously, and I don't think that's what he's saying, but it was in response to someone saying that he wanted to basically just reduce his screen time, etc., which I'm sure us two and everyone listening here is incredibly guilty of insane levels of screen time.
Yeah, I think it's a much harder app to want to log on to now. I feel like there's drastically reduced signal. I don't feel like there is tremendous upside for individual creators to be creating, I suppose, run-of-the-mill written content, because that can just get completely misconstrued as maybe it's AI. Like Seraphim from Ethos has created this kind of like delete all bot. So he's been putting some tweets out recently where he's been like including a project name that might be running a few like info-fi campaigns or some shit, and just making it like a really sloppy like AI generated tweet, and like the responses beneath it are basically all the same shit, just like with the words muddied around, and he's like basically like screenshotting those accounts and like it's going into this like bit of kit that he's made, and then it's like just like an auto unfollow or auto delete style thing. I don't know if the market can correct itself now.
The market, or
well, yeah, because it's a market dynamic, isn't it? Because there's incentives. So you've like at the lowest level you've got, which probably doesn't penetrate this industry as much, but you've got ex native creator payouts, right? Which they get farmed. They probably get farmed more in the football sphere than probably anywhere, to be honest. There's a shitload, like, and fair play, like some of them create like really funny content and shit. But then you've obviously got the layers and layers and layers and layers and layers of like what's happening in like the info-fi space, where again you obviously did that interview where you from Kaito, where if they're going to teams and saying, do you want signal or noise, 99% of the time teams are optimizing for the noise. And the reason that not a lot of people will recognize that Arbitrum have been running an info-fi campaign for God knows how long is because they've optimized for signal. And there's probably, if you were to actually go on direct Twitter search for some like really good Arbitrum content, there's probably a shitload on the timeline, but it's just not necessarily seeing the light of day because of like how much shit there is. And it's like, I think it's just like tiring more than anything. It's like, it is like hitting like mass saturation and mass fatigue, and if people are just coming onto it now and just thinking like that this is a opportunity for generating some form of internet passive income, which I think it is, like what people are like trying to optimize it for, you've just got to question some of the teams that are like still wanting to pursue that as an avenue for marketing, in my opinion. And not to throw like the baby out with the bathwater, because I still think there's like a lot of interesting use cases with it. Like I think accelerate investing for certain teams where there is continued novel media and content created off the back of a token launch. I think people that are contributing on Timeline or whatever platform probably should get accelerated investing. And there's a few like interesting use cases that you can actually use it for. It's just like, I think people are just tired.
I think a few things there. I think it bodes well for us.
Oh yeah, it's great for us.
but I think that the majority of the timeline now is just people talking about how good they are at making content and how to make content without actually doing any or making it.
Yeah, it's
all people talking about how to be a marketer, how to do this, without actually having any evidence of being any good of the sort. And as you say, it's become this cesspit of regurgitated information where as it's just this farm of consistent noise. Like, again, to one thing Cobie said, like seagulls, like these reply guys in my thing here, I have no idea which one is a bot and which one is a Sybil farmer from a territory that is disadvantaged, that is trying to farm engagement to make money, to the point that I don't even know who to reply to and who not to.
It might not even be that as well, though. It might just be like similar to what we've seen with any incentive in the industry. You literally get like actual airdrop, fucking, what's even the word? Like full on setups and like companies that are built around like, how can we maximally extract this? Like, deposit 10K with us, like we're going to take like 15% off the top, and it's like a full on operation. Do you know what I mean? It's like, and it's under a microscope because we're so close to it, but it happens in any other industry as well. It's just like, so the upside in this industry is so ridiculous at times, that I think it becomes a problem a lot more.
You know, here's a prediction for you though. I think it comes full circle, because I think about the blockmates life cycle, right? And the way people said that to us are just obvious things. It's like, hey, you guys have just been keeping it real for the longest time. It's like, yeah, like, yeah. And I think that, as you said to me, as in you from Kaito, take the Arbitrum campaign, they went for signal over noise. And those people were rewarded. But you don't really see much Arbitrum content on the timeline. And I think that nature will always find a way of healing. And it will come back around to a place of, it will just fix itself. And good shit will surface. And I think the first time I started to see the erosion of the real of Twitter just becoming somewhere that I just didn't enjoy was the first signs where you sort of DeFi threadors, you know, and that was like the first time you started seeing niggles of people going, hey, this is how to make an account blow up. And it stopped being about creating content and providing value because it was coming from a place of that's what you wanted to do. And it moved more towards the direction of, here's how to exploit something for a personal gain. And now those accounts are all washed up, absolute garbage, with sitting on 150,000 followers from a time gone by. And you are now in this mire of yapping and noise and insane levels of shit. And I do think that if you are out there just doing the right stuff over and over, people are watching, and it's always the silent majority. I really believe that. Like, I think the majority, if you zoom out and go offline for a bit, and even if you do go to a conference and you go to the right places and meet the right people are still here and still doing what you think and what you hope and expect them to be. And if you still have the right intentions in whether it's posting content or whether it's building something or whatever it is, I do think it'll come back around.
It's the problem is it's
and I mean that for teams as well, by the way, in terms of utility and product market fit and adoptability of dApps and protocols. I really think that as well. Like, the strong survive.
I think it's harder because it's thankless for longer, whereas the stupid shit appears to be being rewarded, but it's not actually. It's all smoke and mirrors. It's similar to, like, I know we've had this conversation multiple times, but like when GPT-3 came out and like that was like a 0 to 1 moment, and everyone's like, oh my god, AI is gonna fucking replace everyone, and like written content is gonna like go away. And like, if anything, like, it's obviously elevated our position because everything's got a bit of personality, charisma, and character, and like from the written side, just in and of itself, it's the same thing. Like, because there is such a commoditization of slop and shit, and getting to a result is easier than ever, and it's just like extremely one-dimensional and transparent, and basically like 100% commoditized across the board for so cheap. The equal and opposite reaction is also true. Anyone with a little bit of personality, charisma, has a bit of taste, or can just do things a little bit outside the box, that is equally as large as an opportunity as what people are extracting from the opposite side, in my opinion. And I think that's only going to become more apparent.
I think you can see that in the life cycle of a main character. Like, how many main characters have we seen come and go?
Yeah. You never want to rise too quickly. You want the slow ascent.
And the same thing happens every single time. And that is also, it just shows you blatantly sugar rush versus just be doing it for the right reasons.
Yeah.
And not to say, I'm conscious I don't want us to come across here as like all high and mighty, bonk guy sold me Fent in 2014. I actually think that's a perfect way to end this conversation.
That's what next week's stream should be called.
Yeah. I'm going to actually end it there. We're approaching an hour. If you were buying fentanyl in 2014 and you're still alive commenting on a blockmate stream, then power to you, brother. Yeah,
that's quite interesting. That's like finding a band before that was cool.
Yeah,
2014 for Fent is pretty.
On that note, look, subscribe to the newsletter. Hickson's great, Louina's great, they're all great. And I want to know, like, we've got one more Christmas episode left, so we went with Boney M.
What tune?
Boney M this week. We went with Wham last week. If you want to tweet us and tell us what Christmas song you'd like to hear on the intro next week while we wait for everyone to join the stream,